Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal Public Affairs Program. I'm Gerry Williams. Recidivism is the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. Today and tomorrow, you're going to learn about how one local business owner is doing his part in cutting down on the recidivism rate. He's Gregory Spear. On the WIHS Journal, it's news and public affairs.
Recidivism technically is going back to something, but the way it's used colloquially now, it mostly refers to going back to prison.
Right.
So there's a strong anti-recidivism movement going on around the country. In many states, if not all states, there's a movement to take a good hard look at what's going on in the criminal justice system, and one of the many ways of attacking that, exploring that, is to figure out why there are such high rates of recidivism almost everywhere. People coming out and going back in again usually within a couple of years, but often within a couple of months.
Have you yourself ever spent time incarcerated?
Not the way we're using the term now. When I was a kid, I got in a lot of trouble, but I was a reasonably articulate white kid, and I wound up getting out of everything. So, between shoplifting and I was a hippie in 1968, so selling psychedelic drugs and smoking pot was a major crime in those days. And even hitchhiking was a crime. I got arrested for that once.
Wow.
And there was a kind of an accidental breaking and entering at one point. So between the ages of 17 and 20, I kind of got in a lot of trouble. But I never spent more than one night in jail. So no, I haven't really had an incarceration experience. Now,
being from, you said upstate New York?
That's right.
And you mentioning that you were a hippie, I got to ask you this: did you attend Woodstock?
I did not. I was out of the country for Woodstock. I was doing my around the world trip at that time.
Okay, I had to ask you that. That just dropped right into my mind.
Yeah,
when you
sure,
said
absolutely.
New York, hippie, 60s,
absolutely.
Woodstock.
Everybody I knew was there, but I wasn't.
I'm speaking with Gregory Spear. The reason why he's a person of interest is because what's going on now is Connecticut benefit corporations, these social benefit corporations, and he's a part of that. And I want him to explain what he does and why.
Sure. What it looks like from the outside is a furniture store, specifically an office furniture store. And the store itself has actually been around for about 50 years, but I bought it 3 years ago to run it as an anti-recidivism program, as a jobs program for people coming home from prison. And the way that works is it's a relatively low-skill industry, which is good for a lot of the people who are coming home. They haven't had the opportunity in their lives at all to develop a real marketable skill. And that's part of how they wound up inside, not being able to get anything but minimum wage jobs that then they were the last hired and first fired, and it's a difficult life when you don't have any skills and you don't have a good quality education either. So part of the anti-recidivism movement is trying to give people job skills, trying to give them training in even basic concepts around how do you apply for a job, how do you put together a resume, how do you do an interview with a prospective boss, and then how do you keep a job. These are all skills that a lot of people coming home from prison have no idea about. Many of us take those skills for granted, but it's because we grew up in environments where these things were taught to us when we were pretty young, by example, and often formally. And so many people coming home from prison just have never had that opportunity. So it's hard for them to get in the door of a new job if they really want a second chance if they're really ready to succeed outside prison. So we help to give them a chance. That's the name of the company, Second Chance Planet. The jobs are refinishing furniture, building furniture, assembling new furniture, a lot of refurbishing used furniture. One of the other missions of the program of the company is recycling. It's Second Chance Planet because it's a second chance for the planet as well by recycling office furniture. Just billions of dollars of office furniture is just thrown in the landfills every year, and we want to make a tiny little dent in that by refurbishing it and reselling it. When you think about the cost of producing new furniture, this just doesn't occur to most people, but the cost of new furniture includes mining, it includes building mine machinery, it includes building the trucks and the ships to take the ore from the mines to the smelters where it's turned into metal or coal or oil, and then the trucks and the planes and the ships that carry the initial products, the raw steel, the raw brass and iron and oil to the factories, and then make more planes and trains and trucks and ships to carry the products out of the factories to the warehouses, and then make more planes and trains and boats and trucks to carry the product from the warehouses to the stores, and on until it gets ultimately to the consumer. So you can get a sense when you think about it that way of the enormous expenditure of energy that's involved in buying new stuff and making new stuff.
Right.
So when you recycle, when you take a piece of furniture out of an old office and polish it up a little bit and put it into another office, you bypass that entire supply chain and the manufacturing chain and the mining chain, and you just bypass all of that and save a tremendous amount of energy to help combat global warming. So it's a second chance for the people coming home from prison. It's a second chance for the furniture, not that matters much, but it's also a second chance for the planet.
Gregory Spear of Second Chance Planet, Inc. And the backstory, folks, is just recently I needed a bookshelf. I went online to look for a bookshelf, and I saw a few. I narrowed it down to about 3. And out of the 3, I chose a bookshelf from Second Chance Planet, Inc. Beautiful bookshelf. And the reason why is because I read what Second Chance was all about, and which hit home because many of you know who have heard my testimony that I was in and out of incarceration back in the 80s and 90s, trying to support an addicted and afflicted, debauched lifestyle until I had my "what must I do to be saved" conversation with God. And once I did that and received Christ, that's when my transformation began. And I, too, had a second chance at life because I was self-destructing out there. But when I began to drink and feed my spirit on God's word, I developed a spiritual fortitude, finally, that empowered me to resist those things that had me bound. So his outfit stood out, Second Chance Planet, Inc. So I went with his bookshelf, Gregory, and it was delivered to my house. Nice young man, and normally, folks, you know, I'm the out and about guy. I would be right there at his place of work, and but we're here doing the phone interview, and so what he's all about really caught my eye and caught my attention, and I shared with him that I narrated a documentary on recidivism. I mean, go figure that. You know, here we are talking about recidivism, and so I shared that with Gregory, and he saw that, and so here we are talking. And
it's a tremendous documentary, by the way. I really liked it a lot.
Well, thank you. Where are you located, Gregory?
We're located at 22 Andover Drive in West Hartford. We moved here just a couple of years ago. The old store was on Park Road for many, many years in West Hartford, and before that, Park Street in downtown Hartford. Mm-hmm. A lot of people remember it from way back then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you've been in business for how long again?
Well, the store has been operating for 50 years,
yeah.
But I bought it 3 years ago to do this program.
And you just heard my conversation with Gregory Spear of Second Chance Planet, Inc. Join me tomorrow for part 2 on the Saturday format journal. That's at 3:15 a.m., 12:15 p.m., and 5:10 p.m. If you would like more information about what you heard today, call WIHS 860-346-1049. That's 860-346-1049. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily of those of the staff or management of the station. I'm Gerry Williams for the WIHS Journal. It's news and public affairs.